I've been dealing with allergies, so I will try to get through this without coughing all over you, so forgive me if I do that. Welcome from DOE to DWD, the cultural shift in Indiana's adult education. My name is Darcey Mitschelen. I am a career counselor with Elkhart Community Schools in Elkhart, Indiana, with adult education. I work only with the adult population in ABE and ESL. I'm also a grad student here at Ball State pursuing the dual master's degree program that you've all been hearing about. And I am going to graduate in May of 2016, so we're woo. Maybe? There we go. All right, so I'm all about participation and learning from each other. So before we begin, I need your help in a little demonstration. So for the next 17 seconds, I want you to get up and go introduce yourself to 2 people that are not near you that you have not talked to yet. So on your mark, get set, go. Okay. Everybody give yourself a round of applause. Woo! All right. Why did I ask you to do that? Well, I wanted you to get a sense of what was happening to adult education when it was announced that it was going to be transferred from DOE, Department of Education, to the Department of Workforce Development. All of a sudden, in a short period of time, the whole world changed, right? You were sitting here and you were expecting me to talk to you, right? And all of a sudden I said, you know what, you guys need to get up and move, right? I changed the expectation, and that's what would happen when there was this transfer from the Department of Education to the Department of Workforce Development. So I always think it's great to have a little backstory to kind of bring you into what's going on. So I want you to go back to 2008, a time that most of us don't want to remember, but the reality was the economy crashed. It more than crashed, right? It took us and it swirled us around and dumped us. Thousands of Hoosier residents lost jobs, including me. Thousands lost homes. That didn't happen to me. Thousands lost savings and retirement funds, and their whole world changed just like that, right? Well, it was hoped, and it was actually thought, that by 2010 there would start being some recovery, and we would start feeling some relief. Well, the reality was it was very, very, very slow coming back. State legislators said, you know what, we've got a problem here in the state of Indiana. We've got a lot of unemployed people with skill sets. And the issue that we're seeing is that the jobs that are coming back are going to require greater skill levels than what those people have. And we need to figure out how to bridge that gap. So in a unanimous vote, state legislators decided, you know what, the best place for the workforce to improve their skills is to actually fall underneath the Department of Workforce Development, and adult education is a great place for us to reach them. And so let's just transfer adult ed from the Department of Education to the Department of Workforce Development. So as of July 1st, 2011, adult ed moved to DWD, which makes great sense to me, right? A Department of Education should be focusing on kindergartners and 5th graders and graduating seniors. And the Department of Workforce Development should be focused on adults and getting them ready for the workforce. I don't know, but that made great sense to me. So DWD went into action, and they went out and talked to employers in the state of Indiana and said, what do you want people coming to you? What do they need? If we're going to prepare them to bridge the gap, what do they need to have? Well, one of the things was employability skills. They actually wanted people to come to them ready to fill out job applications and to do interviews, and to have simple things like a pen with them when they came. Because if you think about 2010, when everybody was unemployed, companies were spending hundreds of dollars on pens because people were coming in to fill out applications, and the pens went with them, right? They wanted them to be ready with a pen and all their information, and not asking the receptionist, hey, can you look up an address or a phone number? So that was one of the things that they wanted. The other thing was job readiness skills, like understanding that you need to come to work every day that you're scheduled, and that you need to be there not just on time, but early, right? Like if my job starts at 8, I need to be there like at 5 till and at my station at 8 o'clock ready to go. They wanted them to understand that. And they also wanted them to have skills in conflict resolution, how to talk to their boss, and what to wear, what was appropriate at work, right? Nothing too low and nothing too high kind of conversations. They didn't want to have to spend the time dealing with those issues. So they wanted people to come to them ready to work. They also wanted people coming with computer and technology skills. Makes sense to me because that's where the world's going. And if nothing else, they needed to have at least a basic understanding of here's a monitor, here's mouse, here's keyboard, and if you move the mouse, you're not going to blow up anything, and if you push a button here, you're not going to blow up anything, right? People needed to have some basic skills, a willingness to be trained on particular programs. And finally, they needed to have a diploma. So adult ed seemed really a good fit for all this conversation. Diploma signifies not only can you learn, but you will learn, and that you will stick with it till the end, right? You're going to complete the goal. And so during this, all of this came to adult education during the transfer. Out of that, there was a whole culture shift in adult education. No longer was adult ed focused on getting people to the diploma as their end piece. Because it used to be people would come in, they'd get their diploma, and we'd go, see you, good luck, have a nice time, right? Now, because of the transfer, we're focused on what is next. What do you want to do, and where's it going to take you, and what can we do to assist you? No longer are we focused on just math and reading. We are focused on things like soft skills and technology. There also became a greater collaboration between instructors and programs as they built programs that didn't exist before. And another piece that was really a huge culture shift was the funding stream. Before, it was based on level gains, 7th to 8th grade, 8th grade to 9th grade, and getting a diploma. But now there's the employability piece that brings funding into programs. Also, there's this piece getting people to training, particularly Work Indiana, which is a program that helps our adult education students get into short-term training. There's funding for us in adult ed, getting them to that piece. We never had to worry about that before. That was never our concern. This was a whole shift in how we approached and how we had thought about adult ed. Well, you can see in the front row there's some really happy teachers because they have graduates. But that was not at the beginning of this whole big shift, right? Because they went through this whole mirage of things. So when I asked you to get up and move and do a whole bunch of things in a really quick period of time, you went through a whole bunch of different emotions. First of all, you're going, really? It's at the end of the day, I don't want to do it, right? Denial, frustration, all those things, because your expectations changed. I asked you to shift. Well, the same thing happened with adult ed. They went through a whole mirage of different emotions and reactions. Maybe? So part of the reactions came from the challenges that they faced. One of the things that didn't exist was an established curriculum. So instructors weren't sure where to start, what to do. None of them had really ever taught resume development or interviewing skills. So they didn't even have anything. They didn't know where to start. Teachers were concerned about the limited amount of time they already had in their classroom. And now we're going to throw in some more instruction. There was limited resources initially, right? Because things were happening really, really quick. And that led some really big gaps that were not being filled. And initially, there was not as much professional development or training that teachers felt that they needed. And that went along with not understanding the vision. They couldn't grasp what the vision was. I like this quote. I think it kind of puts in a nutshell what adult ed went through as it transferred from DOE to DWD. They knew they had to do it, they just didn't like it. They didn't want to have to accept it, but they knew that it was necessary to do it. All right, so three things that really happened that were instrumental in moving it forward. First of all, DWD did an awesome job of dividing adult ed across the region into regions that mirrored the business regions that were already set up, and so the business and education were able to work together to come up with some programming ideas. Also, we worked really closely with our local Work One centers to develop working relationships to get recruitment going and training. And adult education programs started developing their own pieces and their own programs. And the program that I work with, Elkhart Community Schools, is unique in that it from almost the get-go, established the career counselor position so that teachers could continue doing teacher stuff, you know, math and reading, and the career counselor could focus on those pieces. So, going further, what needs to happen? Well, there needs to be ongoing discussions with DWD and adult ed so that we can partner better, so that we can meet the needs of the community. And we need more training. We need to understand more about what we're doing and how we're going to get there. There needs to be a greater sense of integration into the program and also a better utilization of resources. Thank you very much.